And what's going on? This is your boy Joe Fontaine, the VIP SOUNDLAB, and I just got some questions in regards to triggering scenes and patterns on Maschine 1.8, as well as mapping your sounds. So this is going to be a fast little tutorial. This little module here. Basically, one of the cool things about Maschine that I find to be very useful. It's a powerful tool in itself, being that Maschine can pretty much also function as a MIDI controller. You can press Shift and Control, use the controller editor templates for other DAWs, such as the host transport control and things of that nature. But in this particular situation, if you take a look over here, you have 64 patterns. As you can see right there, you see me triggering that pattern. A better way to explain it would be on the top right hand corner of your Maschine controller. You will notice that right hand screen, there's 4 buttons above that screen. The left hand side of the Maschine controller is more or less when you're holding your function keys, you can control, such as patterns, doubling your patterns. You can lock the hardware controller's button so you don't have to keep holding it. Like if you press scene on the hardware controller, you'll notice there'll be a scene button that will appear, and if you hold that button, it will lock that button. So if you do that, lock that, then you go to pattern, hold down pattern, then you'll see the same thing on the left, on the top left of the left screen. You press that button. Now when you let go, now you can sit there and hold the pattern button and go to the scene button, back and forth with those functions locked in, so you don't have to keep going back and forth. So you can go to your pad mode and do the same thing. You notice in the top right hand corner, or rather the top left hand corner, say pad mode. You select that and it locks that in, and then next to that you'll see a mode, it'll say keyboard. You select that, and if you want your sounds to be at a fixed velocity, you hold down the fixed velocity key. Simple as that. I do mine like that, and then I just leave it. Okay, so for example, let's say if we're on right here where it says pattern 1. Let's say if this was a pattern that I was doing, of course, you know, I'm not using any sounds, I'm just doing this for an example. Let's say if this was your pattern, and you know, I don't know, you was down here, you was painting your automation and, you know, getting your kicks, because you know sometimes you want to have a different you know, velocity in your kicks and stuff like that. So you can use your paint icon here to do that. So okay, here's a pattern. So let's say if you want to duplicate it. Now, when I mentioned when you press the pattern button and then held that key, so now when you press the pattern, you'll notice that it will say double, it will say duplicate and remove. On the right hand side of the screen, it'll show your patterns 1 through 16, which is basically right here. And you'll notice a length icon towards the bottom. If you scroll that wheel, you can control the length. As you see right here, it went to 2 bars. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Okay, when you turn that length, see, it went to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, you could control your lengths there. So that's how you do that. I'm gonna keep this basic right now. I'm just gonna keep on this little 1 bar loop here. Now, you'll notice on your Maschine controller that the first pad will be lit up. That's your pattern. You can press duplicate towards the top. That will be the 3rd button on the left hand screen. And you see that this little 2 lights up. Okay, now you'll notice in your hardware controller that 2 pads will now be lit up. So when you hit the 2nd pad, now we go to scene 2. Looks exactly the same. Don't let it confuse you, because from here, if you change anything, notice once I move a note, this little asterisk comes up. It's letting you know that you just did an edit to your pattern. All right, so this looks a little bit different. So now when I go back to the first button, boom, it's different. So now we got 2 completely different scenes. Easy as that. Let's say if I didn't like the second scene, I'm on the 2nd scene, I simply go to the left top hand screen and the 4th button will be remove. I hit remove and boom, it's gone. I can go back to my first pattern by simply touching on the pads. And the scenes work pretty much the same. But before we get into the scenes, again, this is 1 through 16. Now you might say to yourself, well, how do I get the 17th pattern to come up here? you know, some people don't use these many patterns inside of a mix, but I know some people who do. So basically what you can do on the top right hand screen, there's going to be 4 buttons. The first button controls scenes 1 through 17. If I hit the second button, that's now controlling, or rather I'm saying scenes, I'm so used to saying scenes, the patterns. When I hit the second button, it's now controlling patterns 17 through 32. If I hit the third button, it now controls, or rather triggers, patterns 33 through 48. And the last button on the right will bring you from pattern 49 to 64. And it's as easy as that. Now, at the top, towards the scenes, it pretty much works the same. If you press the scene button, and if you if you push the scene button on your hardware controller, and if you held that scene button on the top left-hand screen, it's already going to be set for you. You notice it to say all, duplicate, and remove. You know, that's pretty much works the same as the pattern. So now you notice the same thing. The first pad will be lit up that will say scene 1. And if you hit the duplicate button, boom, you see it made scene 2. And I can do it again, and again, and again, and again. And it just keeps duplicating the scenes. And again, the remove button is there. If you hit the remove button, now you see it erase that one. If I go here, it will erase that one. If I go here, it will erase that and erase that. All right, and now what we'll do from this point is we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the scenes as well as mapping your sounds. The best way to explain this is on that right hand screen, those 4 buttons at the top. The first button controls your scenes 1 through 16. I would say think about it like when you're looking down at your hardware controller. I mean, it's already numbered. It says 1 through 16. Then you know when you go to scene 2, which is going to be the second button. Well, I don't want to say scene 2. It's going to be more of a set of controls. Okay, for example, we're on the first button. If the first pad is lit up at scene 1. When I press the second pad button, it lights up. See, it says scene 2. Then it goes to scene 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I keep going, it goes all the way up until 16. All right. So now you're like, okay, well, how do I get to scene 17? It won't let me go any further, but it will. What happens is, so you don't be confused, that second button on the right hand screen, when you hold that button, wait, let me go back to the first one first. You hold this button, it lights up. Okay. Now it looks like it didn't do anything, but it did. That first button on the left hand side of the screen, it stays lit, but it's kind of dim. Don't worry about that. As long as that second button is more like brightly lit, that's where you're at. So when you hit the first pad, you see how it immediately jumps to scene 17, and then it starts going up. So now it's going up just like that, all the way until you get to scene 32. So, and that's how you can fly through it like that. You know, so if you're playing live and you're triggering your scenes, that's how you can play live and trigger your scenes. You know, and if you go back to that first button, see, I can jump way over here to 1, then boom, I can fly way over here to 32. Or over here, I can be on 22 and say, hey, look, I want to jump way over here. Maybe it's like 11. You see what I mean? So if I hit the third one, boom, I could jump way over here to 42. Or I could be over here on 33. Or I could press the last button, or rather the fourth button on the right hand side of the screen. I could say, you know what, I'm gonna jump way over here to scene 64. Okay, or I could jump over here to 50. So boom, I could be way over here on 1, or I could jump way over here on 64, or whereas I could be anywhere in the mix if I'm performing live. So that's pretty much how that works. All right, so let's go ahead and get into mapping some sounds. That was the final question. Again, I don't want to run too long on this. So on your hardware controller, what you want to do I would say the first thing to do to get it going, I would say go ahead and press pad mode first. Make sure you got the pad mode key selected. I like to use the fixed velocity button just because it triggers off my sounds as loud as it can be, so I don't have to kill my machine pads. You know, pad failure is not an option for me. I like to keep my pads, you know, crisp. I like to use the velocity down here when I'm adjusting. But you know, there's also a 16 It's kind of like a 16. It says 16 velocity on here, but it's more like a 16 level. If you hit that 16 level key, your sounds from 1 to 16 will go from a low velocity to a higher velocity. You know, if you want to get a more melodic feel in your tracks or your kicks, because you know, when it comes to making music, you have to have velocity in your tracks. It's not an option. You just have to have that. That's the only way your track is going to have that bounce and that vibe in it. Okay, so anyway, back to the pad mode. We're on pad mode. Also select keyboard. All right, so now we have keyboard. It's going to be pad mode and the keyboard lit up. You see that on your hardware controller, and you begin to notice down. You'll see on the hardware controller, it will say bass key, and it will say C2 velocity wherever you have it at. And you notice on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see the notes. Basically, those are the MIDI notes, and that bass key is what's going to determine you going through these notes. If you have a MIDI controller on, you can go through that a lot easier because you don't have to sit there and worry about going through your bass key. But you know, one of the great things about Maschine, you can use the hardware controller also as a MIDI controller, so everything is there. Native Instruments pretty much thought everything out on that. All right, so if I go over here on the sampling tab on the software, that's here, or you could press sampling on your hardware controller, as I just did, and you see right here I have some sounds on this map, and they're kind of on each individual sound. So let me go ahead and just take these off, and I'll show you how I got those on there. All right, so now we have a nice clean slate, and you see right here, here are the root notes, and right here it's saying from C2 to C8, and of course we can adjust that. But let's go over here. You see right here I have, well, this is my Lamborghini Drums Triple XL, and you can hear all these sounds in real time just by when you're clicking on them. See how it, I don't know if you can hear it. Let me turn it up. Those are some open hi-hats. I hope you guys can hear it. The way I have my mic hooked up, you might not hear it. So what you want to do if you want to bring some sounds in, these are different folders from the kit. You find whatever you want. In this particular situation, I'm going to use these hi-hats. So let's say if I select that one there, sounds kind of crispy, and I say let's grab a nice group of sounds. Maybe I'll take them all. I press shift on the last one. They all highlight. Now when I drag these over, like so, you see they're on the map. But now I take my mouse and I move my mouse down. And you see how they shrunk up? It eliminated some of those keys. And I can take this icon here, if my computer will work with me here, and I can control the velocity of that. Now you see right here, I also can do the tuning, the gain, the pan, and you also can do this from the hardware controller. Now when I hit pad 1, there's the first sound, second sound, third, all the way up to the last sound, the 16th sound. You see it kind of stops right there. So you're wondering how you can get over to these other sounds, and I'll show you that in a minute. But before I do that, let's be thorough here. Let's go back to the first sound. If you look on your hardware controller where it says map, that first top right hand button where it says map, you're going to notice towards the bottom, it's going to say root note. It's going to say C2, low C2, and high C2. On the right hand side of your controller screen, it's going to say whatever the sound is, so you know exactly what you're working with. And the cool thing about the new 1.8 update, you notice we have that little, I forget what to call it, that little locator that moves. It plays through the sample. So, you know, you can edit your sample and things of that nature. And you notice it to say remove if you want to take a certain sound off of this map. And it also has previous and next. When you use previous and next, see what I mean? Watch this. I don't know if you can see that, but see how that's moving? I'm going through the keys by hitting that right button. And if I go back, it goes back to the beginning. See? So you can scroll through your sounds like that. All right, but okay, the 16th sounds here. We want to move past this particular key range. We want to get over in this particular key range. So what you have to do is you have to press your pad mode button again. All right, now when you press pad mode, you notice we're back where it says pad mode, keyboard, 16 velocity, fixed velocity. On the right hand side, you see those notes. Now that's that key where it's at. See right there, it says D1. On your hardware controller, it's going to say D #1. Okay. Now look on the left screen, it's going to say where it says bass key, is the bass key is going to say C2. We want to move that up just a little bit. All right. So now when I moved it up just a little bit, it should say C $-2 and the notes change. Now I'm over here. And we're going through sounds. Okay. So now if I go back, see, we hear those original sounds. So we go back to pad mode. Say, nope, not there yet. Move it up a little bit more. Maybe we might be up in like E2. Hit pad mode again. Now I see where I'm at. And remember, the right-hand side of the screen is going to tell you the sounds. Now you see I'm starting to move up a little bit. Or I might be down here. So think of it kind of as a target scope. Maybe like, you know, if you're looking at a target shape, you're zooming in on what you want to mess with. All right, so now I go back, hit pad mode again. All right, so now I'm going to move the bass key up a little bit more. And let's say, I don't know, I'm just estimating here. I got it on A2 right now. So now I hit pad mode again. I see where I'm at. So I'm almost, I got one more little key to go, but you see it's zooming through that. All right, so now I go hit pad mode again. Move my bass key up one more time, and I know that's overkill right there. Yeah, because when I hit my 16 pad right here, there's no sound on it. It's empty. And until right there, C0. It's saying right there. Boom. So now I hit pad mode again. And I see right where I'm at, ending off on that last little sound. So now I know what that zone range is. So now what you can do if you want to make, you know, ultimate drum kit, you can go back and let's say we want to add these kicks. I'll take a couple. I'm not going to do a lot. I don't want to run too long in this video. I'll just drag these over and the process repeats. See, when I move my mouse up and down is how I can control the range on that. So let's make sure we put this right there. So what I'll do is I hit pad mode again. I'll just move the bass key up just a little bit, just so I can do this really fast because I don't want to run too long in the video. So I can know I'll be targeting in a little bit on this area and a little bit of that area. See, now I'm hitting hi-hats and kicks at the same time. I'm not trying to play a beat. I just want to show you how I could target on that range. Yeah, and these are my Lamborghini Triple XL drums with Pro Caliber kicks. I have some really hard hitting drum kicks, and wow, man, like you name it. I have like so many new drum kits right now. You guys might want to come by the website and take a look at that. Like such as we have the new Lamborghini Triple XL drum kit, which is a 3D HD process drum kit. We have a hardware versus software drum kit. We have a Trapaholic drum kit for producers who are producing Dirty South music. We also have a beast mode drum kit for those lovers who love the new Maschine 1.8 update. And a lot of my kits I made, they're Maschine 1.8 ready. Also have a Complete 8 Ultimate HD drum kit, which is more than just an expansion for Contact. It has custom drum sounds and custom instruments from the Motif XF8 and also the ES8. It's also a Maschine expansion as well. So you guys might want to come by the website. And again, I have a VIP membership. It's $9.99, no monthly fees, and it's just one-time fee of $9, and that's it. All our tutorial videos on Maschine, Pro Tools, and all other DAWs are all free. And we have a VIP database where you can go in there and get lots of free content, such as drum kits, controller editor templates. We have a lot of freeware VSTs in there. We have a lot of MPC sounds. We have a lot of FXB files, sound fonts, things of that nature. Anything related to producing the music, we have it in there for free. And we have a VIP database too, which is also awesome because we're further expanding out. That database is still under construction, but right now we have a lot of drum kits in there as well. and things to help you out as far as your music production. Like you can go in there and get, you know, things you basically need, like, you know, ASO for all and loopy drum kits. We have some free demo installers for some of our friends. We got like so many things are going on right now. But before I get out of here, I also want to show you, let me go back and hit the pattern button again and go back to the pattern. I just wanted to show you, get off this sample key, back on this pattern. I also want to show you right here when we were, okay, let me hit my pattern button here, lock that in. Okay, here's the patterns. When I was mentioning going through these patterns, also you can share patterns with friends. Like where this pattern is, if you right click on that, you could press save as, like so, and then you see how your computer comes up and it says pattern, it says MPAT, machine pattern. You can save your pattern inside of there, and you know, you can share patterns with friends, or you can right click and press open if you want to open a pattern that you might have. You know, so when you work really hard in your work, just remember you can save those patterns. And it's, you know, if you got a certain hi-hat roll, maybe for Dirty South music, or if you have a certain drum kick roll, or whatever the case may be, or Maschine comes with a lot of sounds, so you can take those patterns that's already in Maschine and mix and match them with your own sounds. Some people might say it's biting. I typically don't do that, but you know, you get the idea. It's a tool, so you can basically save yourself work in the long run. You know, if you have a certain hi-hat pattern that you know you don't want to sit there and do it all over again, load up your pattern. You know, mix and match different patterns. You know, be creative. All right, so this is your boy Joe Fontaine, the VIP Sound Lab. I'm not going to run too long. And again, I hope to see you guys on the website, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.